When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk, people.
Good evening and welcome to Make We Talk, a special edition. This evening I have my special guest is Mr. Colin Bell, caretaker, a member of the People's National Party. I'm pretty much sure you heard and you see what happened in Portland yesterday with the gentleman who believe that he's a bull duppy and duppy conqueror. Everybody must be afraid of him. Mr. Everald Warmington. Or should I say, you know what, this should make keep me out this evening. I have also my good friend Luke George, community activist, who's going to come and speak. But before we bring in our guests, let I play the video of the gentleman who believes that Jamaica belongs to him. And he does know the meaning of the word minister. But we're going to show him tonight that the time has come for the Labour Party to say bye-bye to that man. I play the clip.
No! Government of Jamaica. Yes, but not you. You tour with the parish council. So I am following. No, you don't follow my tour. I'm a tour with, you see, it's a political tour. Right, and it's a government, so I want to know what is happening. Caretakers not recognize, hold on, caretakers not recognize. I am a citizen of Jamaica. I want to know what is happening. You hear me? Caretakers are not recognized in the Constitution of Jamaica. I don't know about caretaker. I'm a citizen of this country. Well, and I have interest in this. Keep your interest to yourself. No. And your yard. No. Don't come on my interest. Don't come on my tour. May I share my interest? I don't want to be here. I'm here with the member of parliament. No. Well, I am here. You say consult with me? I am here. We're not tour with consult with me. Tour with the mayor. I am here. All right, tour with the mayor. I am here. So wait, who invited you? Only drink, laugh, and slide when you invite you. Well, guess what? You know who you invite. So if you invite me as well, you invite me. Drink, laugh, and slide when you invite you. I don't know which culture the caretakers, regardless of party. Regardless of the party. I don't differentiate parties, you know. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't different parties, sir. I don't know what you're talking about parties. I'm a citizen of this country. I'm the tour member of parliament. If you need information, ask sir. I will ask her when the time. Right. I don't know what council of the caretakers. So who's the council of the caretakers? So you. I am the council of the caretakers. I'm the MP aspirant. For this board. No worries. Right. I'm the MP aspirant for this board. Close your eyes then. What? Close your eyes. Close your eyes if you don't want to see. I am here.
Now tell me something now. That is the man they give Order of Jamaica to. And he's also a Justice of the Peace. Mr. Campbell. Tell me something. You're saying something, Sir George?
Is it Order Jamaica? He has a CD.
Oh, commander with distinction, something like that?
Yes, he he has the order in the CD, meaning the um, command of distinction.
Okay. Okay. Let me get our guest in. Mr. Bell, tell me something now, sir. When he said that to you, what went through your mind?
Tell him son chaka chaka something. But you know, the good Lord was with me and he spoke through me. So I maintained my composure. I kept my calm, you know, because this man really, I think it was a setup though, because I can be very rude. Let me tell you straight up. And I think they tried to set me up for me to tell him something where would be unheard of. But, you know, there are times when you must keep your composure and be calm. So I was calm, cool, and I basically wanted to let him know that, listen, I'm a citizen of Jamaica. I have a right to be here, and you're not going to make me move.
Look, mute your mic for me a minute, Luke. Yeah. So tell me now, when the so-called minister refer to you as what? Chink and what?
And fly. So I said to him, then maybe you invited some of those on the tour.
No, hold on there. Look, George, you ever heard anything like this before in your entire life in this country?
Look, this behavior, Mr. Warmington has been exhibiting this behavior. Him reach a parliament. Him is either Obia man, because him seem to know everybody business. Him can call Lisa and a Jezebel. I wonder if him ever looking at him family and say how much Jezebel him having a film family. He has called Horace Dudley low life. Yeah, so him called Anthony Hilton clueless. Anthony.
And Quashi lawyer.
Yes. So Mr. Wong, him tell of journalists, and him tell the Prime Minister at one point he must withhold public assistance funds until him know how people vote, how they on what party line they vote. So Mr. Warmington has been given a free run to do and say just about anything. And the mere fact that the MP for the area, I don't know what was the tour about, so I'm not going to preempt that I know what the tour. But if you're having any tour to do with development of the constituency, I would want to believe that the caretaker should be invited to participate, because we are not doing development based on party line. It is the people of what section of Portland? East
Portland. And he admitted that it was a government tour, so it wasn't a GLP tour.
It became evidently clear by those utterances that Mr. Warmington was saying to Mr. Bell Davis, is your name, sir?
Bell.
No, Colin Bell.
Yeah, Mr. Bell. This is a labor right activity, although you could have clearly said government vehicles there with government personnel. So if you are a PNP, you don't get none of this benefit. And we don't want the caretaker to participate so that he can best inform East Portlanders as to what development is taking place, the value of it for them to have an input. So Mr. Bell is called chink and whatever. And I commend Mr. Bell, because there is no office that I want to hold that somebody as low life, Mr. Warmington, that is born low, grow cheap, and have bad habit, to tell me the things that he said to Mr. Bell and still could go on that tour. It would not have happened. And I could have told Mr. Warmington that try that with another Jamaica. There is no office that I want to hold. But I was equally surprised that the member of parliament was standing there and seemingly like she was enjoying the moment.
Let me tell you something. Somebody told Mr. Warmington to do it, because Mr. Warmington don't know me. He did not know that I was a caretaker. So somebody pointed me out to him and make mention of that to him. So as I said earlier, the whole thing was planned. It was a setup. And of course, they are like mine. Birds of a feather flock together. It's just that some maybe not able to come out and say it openly, but he was sent to do that.
So hold on,
Right.
Mr. Bell. Hold on for me, Sir George. Hold on for Mr. Bell. So that means that maybe it's a member of parliament who put him up to do it?
I don't know, but as I said, Mr. Warmington don't know me. So somebody pointed me out to him. And I have proved that in another area. He saw somebody else and thought it was me, asked him that. And he was told no, and him said, whatever, him.
So hold on here now.
So it was set up.
Let me ask you something. Did you go along with the tour?
Go again.
Did you continue with them with the tour on the tour?
Yeah, man. The final stop was Nargites, and I went to Nargites as well. It's my parish. Him can't run me away. Yeah, me born, I am live. But he can't run me away from this village.
But look, George.
Well,
No,
as I told you earlier, I have another engagement, so I have to run. If it is possible, when I am through, then I might rejoin you.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, but okay, Mr. Bell, what time you're going to be through? Because I need a little bit more understanding of what was the tour about, Mr. Bell?
In another 30 minutes, I should be free.
Okay. What was the tour about before you go, though?
The tour was about, they were looking at the roads in the Fellowship Division because we have some terrible roads. So when I heard that the minister was coming to look at our roads, we had some breakaways that need some wall and all of that. So when I hear that was going to happen, I was excited because, you know, the people need some relief. So that's why I tag along, because I want to know what is going to happen and when it is going to happen, because it cannot be too soon for the people of the Fellowship Division for those roads to be dealt with.
But is there no working relation between you and the current MP? She don't normally invite you for these tours. It's not something that is standard.
She don't talk to anybody, period. If I am aware that there's any public meeting, I make myself available. The last one I went to in Moortown, she cussed me out decently. I did not respond because I did not get a chance to speak, but I make my presence felt at all these meetings. I don't miss them because I am a representative of the people and I intend to represent the people going forward. So whatever plans are being put in place, I want to know, because I also believe in continuity.
So you're telling me, Mr. Bell, although you have to go, as a citizen and somebody who stepped up to the plate to represent your constituency, you should not attend public meetings. You are not invited to public meetings. And this is the best of the politics that we can practice in Jamaica.
This is the worst of the politics, not the best. Jamaica is better than this. We are better than this. We have a lot.
I should cut you out.
But yeah, but let me.
The lady who said we have 15 parishes in Jamaica cut you out.
Hold on there. Hold on there, George. Mr. Bell, please join me in the next 30 minutes now.
Yeah, man, I will join.
Please.
Blessings, my brother.
Yes. Look, George.
No, Jeffrey, sorry. It's no laughing matter. It's no laughing matter. Mr. Warmington will be brought to Jamaica House at the holding cell for bad behaving MPs. He will be given a pat down. He did say one time that Mr. Holness can't fire him. It's only the people of his constituency, South St. Catherine, who have the authority. And it is those persons who elected him. And he's answerable to them. Now, this demagogue behavior is similar to that of a Don man. And seemingly, when Mr. Edward, when Mr. Bartlett was joining his colleagues in talking about Angela Brown-Burke, the Jamaica Labour Party has never come out and take a stand to say that this behavior is an acceptable behavior. So who are they to talk about morals and value? The MP was there looking, and instead she said, Minister, I don't have a problem. As a forward-thinking MP, I would have wanted to hear if that was her mindset. I honestly don't have a problem with the caretaker participated in the tour, because what it must show is that we have reached a level of maturity in the politics where there's no secret, and he has a part to play in how the constituency is developed. Those utterances this morning, it should have been not the people of Jamaica, but the Prime Minister of Jamaica who is saying that I cannot have that double standard for the young people in the country. I'm not demanding an apology. What I'm demanding is the resignation. No members of my cabinet must behave in this manner. It is not the reflection, it's not the direction that we want the country to go. But again, Mr. Warmington seems like he's a wizard. He have material for everybody, because everybody seemingly is afraid of this brother, yeah. But me would have liked him for just tell me that yesterday. And it would have gone another way. I really would have loved for me and him to have, because him is certainly one big mumalashi. So since him wants somebody for matching, I grew up with 8 sisters. If me don't know anything else, me know me have a PhD in responding to people like that.
But no, on a very serious note, George. How
drunk
you have a sitting member of parliament, a sitting minister, end up telling a Jamaican citizen that? It's same where Robert Pickers going to ask him one of his time of the month.
But Jeffrey, I'm saying these public utterances. All right. It's Robert, is Warmington. You have some other sharpshooters. I mean, Raymond Price was entered Parliament once, and they talk about Fish and Raymond, and to go in there and talk about the Lord Jesus Christ walk with 12 fishermen in his response. That kind of behavior is unacceptable. That kind of behavior is unacceptable. Mark you, some of that was coming from his own colleagues on the PNP side. That behavior, why we can't set up the structure to fail, Jeffrey Tavares. We talk about morals and values and the tolerance and self-respect for people of different belief and persuasion. But in the nation parliament, it seems like because parliament don't have it can censor you, but it can't seem to have a serious discipline measure to look at the egregious activities that you find yourself in and ask you to leave, because you are no longer reflecting what it would be deemed to be a parliamentarian and a leader who is currently in government, holds a very prominent position. But we have also gone on to award him the Order of the Nation. So is it that we're saying that any chaka, any kaba can become MP, minister, and we give them titles and awards? So what do you then say to Jamaicans when we want to carry on and we want to become very cruel in terms of the things that we say about other people? What do you say to young Jamaican tonight, Prime Minister Holness, having heard that a caretaker is not entrenched?
In the Constitution,
the person is not elected. The person is not elected, but we recognize caretakers position in the structure of government. That is the person you run against, and that is the person in the era who is representing the other part.
But not only that, no, George. Warmington is damn stupid because he was a caretaker before he became an MP.
Look, it's not just stupid, Jeffrey, what me I talk about, it's just the basic decency that the office no longer have. And so there is seemingly no end to Warmington, because I'm sure he's going to get a pat on the shoulder. And him can tell the Prime Minister, say, if you are not the constituents of South St. Catherine, then you can't get rid of me. You can't talk until the call come. There is not a move from the position of minister without portfolio. There is not going to be a move, because I think Jamaican has come to accept that Mr. Warmington is expressive. But Mr. Warmington must remember that the parliament and the government of Jamaica can't seem to be mumalashi and pupalashi. Portia Simpson was taken to task when she said, "Don't draw my tongue." And in that vernacular, people thought that it was below the belt. But see, whatever Mr. Warmington did, it look like because he is a man, it don't carry the same weight and the same, we don't look down on it and condemn it in the same vein. But it's a sad day for Jamaica because on the international stage, that is something that has got international, where you're telling the people of a country that if you're not invited, which is not your personal funds you're spending, Mr. Everald Warmington, is the government of Jamaica. Every citizen has a right to know. And the mere fact that you can characterize and tarnish this man by calling him all these names, it means that you probably have something that you need to hide, because you're probably walking with people who you have already asked to share in the scarce benefits and spot, because you should have no objection. And I got to talk about go on to the, not even the municipality people came out against the statement. East Portlanders have not gotten up and said, that is unacceptable behavior. We will not accept it from Warmington or from anybody else.
I must say good night to a distinguished gentleman who is watching my program, former Jamaican ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador Curtis Ward. Good night to you, Ambassador. You have some.
You shouldn't have been watching Jeffrey. You should have invited him to be on the panel.
I have been inviting the ambassador for a while, you know, but ambassador is a very busy individual.
Well, him so on tonight and can participate.
I have to wait until when he can come on, because I would love to have his presence here with us this evening to speak about what is going on in our beloved country that he loves so much, and he has represented Jamaica with love and respect. Everywhere you go and hear Curtis Ward name, the brother talk good about Curtis Ward. Ambassador.
Oh, this is ambassador who the low minister, the low life minister said he is not aware that there was such a person.
Him same one. You mean the minister of misinformation?
Yeah, Nestor.
Low life. Nestor Morgan, who
low life. You don't talk out of turns, yeah. You don't talk against your elder. You're gonna find out. Well, you don't know, you're gonna find out. You can't talk about people that have served this country credibly, like Ambassador Ward, and behave like you're a dishcloth or no dish towel. You're not right, brethren. And if you don't know the facts, then it means that you need to go educate yourself. And everything you gotta know about, go educate yourself before you make public utterance, to make a disclaimer but you're not aware of him. But this is the nature of the beast, you know. These men can't say anything and feel like it right, and we don't want no public apology. Once you are given misinformation, you're misinformed, and you can't take correction, you forgo, because it means that the country is in a bad position with your leadership, right? And I'm telling you, say, I thought this morning East Portlanders, at least the PNP, the sleeping PNP would have every Eastlander getting up and saying no to that behavior. I don't know if Mark Jeffrey Golden put out any statement about it, but
from the leader of the opposition. I heard nothing from Angela Brown-Burke. I heard nothing from the great Dr. Dayton Campbell. I heard nothing.
You see what I tell you? Sleeping on the job, man. Sleeping on the job.
I heard nothing from my good friend, president of the PNP. That lovely
Gabriella.
lady. I heard nothing from nobody.
Right? Because they have normalized the behavior, man. They have them guilty of it too, you know, so them can't talk about it because they have made some utterances that equally match the JLP. But what I'm simply saying, them not do it as often as Mr. Warmington, but they have normalized the behavior. The parliament have gotten so low, you know, marking them called Peter Phillips, CIA. Peter have said to them, say, you want to come out that door, make me get for thumping in your mouth. Well, he probably never got that far, but I guess that's what he was saying. Come say that to me up my face outside. You just think of some of the most disgraceful things that you would expect from a public servant to say about their counterparts, and it has been said. and it has been normalized. I don't think any of them have any credibility when it comes to talking about morals and value. I think that the Prime Minister should not even make, yeah.
But George, in which modern democracy can Everald Warmington said something like this?
Jamaica.
In northern modern democracy, this crap can happen, you know.
Jamaica. No, look, the Caribbean have some terrible leaders, including one that me fall in love with recently. The things that they say about their counterparts, including the new Barbadian lady. Look, some of the things that people say. Good. Yeah, some of the things that people say in the Caribbean and outside of the Caribbean, to include Britain, is just horrific. I remember one black member of parliament when it came to the Windrush, talking about when you lie with dogs in response to the abuse against the Windrush persons. But he was speaking in defense of the Windrush. So, but the things that are said in parliaments right across the length and board, including Africa, sometimes is more than distasteful. And you wonder if people are not developing their vocabulary to be able to come back with a witty remark, but not one that descends into gutter politics. And it's sad to say, in this democracy of Jamaica, on display is gutter politics. It's like two big yard tenement situation. When you see Mr. Warmington, you know him one tenement yard politician. It can't get lower than it can't. But I wonder if he walk over or him just like for just get people file and him have file and everybody in parliament so him can bad about them. The other day, me hear Angela for spout off with him. I never apologize to Dalrymple nor Warmington. I would have stood on the ground of principle because Miss Dalrymple ears are lazy. Everybody else in TV land could have heard the comment, but Miss Dalrymple never hear it. And yet still Miss Dalrymple, again I'm saying, why would I want to be the Speaker of the House when my name is in battle, is in boil in land issue that me know me might not guilty of, and me can't say she guilty because I don't know, but I would have stepped away to show the decency of the office that and how I see leadership. I would have stepped away and allow somebody else to act until my name is cleared.
George, let me say something to you. Does it matter? Don't you realize that these politicians has no respect nor regard for the Jamaican people? Don't tell them have respect for them. It's when they
Jeffrey,
so hold on there. So when you have the Speaker of the House, when they accuse herself from certain issues and telling the people of the country that the Parliament is the highest court of the land, and then you have Anne-Marie Vaz, or Vaz, or what she want name, laughing when Mrs. Warmington, Mrs. Motalashi Warmington, who wear a skirt. Gentlemen, I'm going to apologize about it. Well, I tell him that he's dog this. And you don't hear nothing from the Prime Minister's mouth. You hear nothing from the opposition leader mouth. You hear nothing from Jamaicans anywhere in this country.
No, Jamaicans, some of us we use other medium like Twitter, and we use Facebook, and we use WhatsApp to condemn the action. But the fact of the matter is that the people of East Portland should not accept that behavior. And if they believe by selling their votes for $5,000 and they believe that the little benefits that they're getting from their representative is going to give them the sort of long-term development that they need, they're wrong. We must, as a people, demand greater accountability in public office than what we are getting. I am simply saying that Ms. Vaz stood there, and it is her constituency. She shows no respect for her rival, which tells me that she's quite immature and not ready for leadership. And she then stood there and said absolutely nothing, which we always say that silence means consent. She consented to the chaos and the maiming and just how the trash talk that went on. At one point, even with a smile on her face, they said, I'm okay, I'm going along with it. And then for the gentleman to have come on and said, in another area, they were trying to identify who he was. It tells me that this was properly staged because this showdown had to happen. By the member of parliament. He turns up for a public meeting and him get trashed. Him says on me by the member of parliament. So it tells you that there is nothing called democracy in the process. It means that when you have PNP abuse and JLP abuse, depends on which tribe is in, we have abuse. To the less of the evil, people are gonna say, well, PNP not behave so. But the truth of the matter, we might not catch everybody on public camera, but from what people tell you about the big, but what people tell you about
the former chairman for life, Robert Pickers-Gill, asked a woman in Westmoreland if it's her time of the month.
Yeah.
So these politicians have no respect for the people of this country.
And this is why the people need to take back their power, Jeffrey. The people need to clearly ask in this new dispensation for job description and for people who are going to reflect our best value and to put those people into office. Look here, man. We can be mature. We have to reach a level of maturity if we're going to lead the people. And if these are the two ruling tribes, we have to show respect to our counterparts. I have been in position of leaders, and I've had to work with people that clearly me and them don't take tea. But when it comes to my personal dislike for you, I don't abuse my office. I try to be inclusive as possible, and I show you the respect that I want from you, because we must remember that as we turn to look behind us, there is a generation looking to us for leadership. And look what was on display, and I'm saying that you can call out other people when them behave badly, but there is no accountability in terms of the leaders saying that this is not acceptable. Mr. Warmington needs to go off in the dark of night. Him reach the age where him can retire. I don't know why I'm still holding on and why we still have to keep these old arcade bastion of their political tribe in power, why they can't go off. So when you talk about a modern democracy, it is a clear display what Mr. Warmington did. That is how politicians in general feel about people's interference.
But this is to show you, and the people of our country must understand this, that the Prime Minister of this country, the chief servant of this country, does nothing to Mr. Warmington's behavior, as to show you that the members of the Labour Party themselves has no respect for the people of this country. The women within the Labour Party, it's just like the men in the Labour Party. And I'm not going to
single out the woman, Jeffrey. Leadership is leadership, full stop. You must reflect the best.
And speak out against Mr. Warmington's behavior.
But it's not just the leadership in the political tribe. We must have statement from civil society. Just as how my friend Jeanette Cardinal asks why the expenditure that the Auditor General has now put out to say that the Ministry of Health might have just spend while the money will borrow from other people, and the PS is saying him not say nothing wrong with the spending. The PS is a student of the World Bank. The World Bank liked him. He was a World Bank. He was selected from JSIF to go and do social services training and specialized training, and then came back and went to the Ministry of Finance and of Labor, then ended up at Finance. And he understands the procurement guidelines, so it should be clearly be followed. And that is when you have greater accountability, once you adhere to the measures that have been put in place. So that Jeanette was asking, and I think somebody else was asking for greater account to be given to that situation in Parliament. And the chairman just said, you know what, I thought that the PS had answered, so let us move on. No, that is not your money. It's a disregard for the people, Jeffrey, that has gone on for years. No, how could I be the chair of the Public Accounts Committee and see something as damning as the Auditor General report coming to me to say that millions of dollars was used that we can't explain? You buy tablet, you buy TV. Where are those tablets and those TV? Why were we buying tablet and TV in the first place? Because if you were sent to a hotel, don't hotels usually have tablet and TV? But if you look at the report that was sent here, Jeffrey, it shows and it gives a damning picture of what these courageous person was asked in the public account to give greater answers to the people of Jamaica. And the chairman believed that the matter was properly litigated so that to move on. Now, remember, this is money that is borrowed. This is not money that was given as a grant. And so all the tablets and the television and the hotel services that were used during COVID, what is the means of verification are we using to say that these people actually use it? Because we know that in government, we can create people when we want to create them and put them in place. So we have to have greater accountability. So when you talk about a modern democracy, in a committee like the Public Accounts Committee, you must use the fine-tooth comb to show Jamaican that we are getting value for every dollar that we spend, because there is so much challenge in Jamaica that you have to make sure that we are putting the money where we're going to get the most of it. And coming back to how you see this display of total disregard for the people, Mr. Warmington was saying to Mr. Bell, we disregard you. This is nothing to do with you. You hear him say, you see me, I walk with councillors. This is the local authority of the country. And he's saying that, and remember the man is now saying it is roads. So it's an infrastructure project that is being done in East Portland for the residents of East Portland, regardless of who is orange or green. And you're disregarding it, that you're so pompous and arrogant that you only walk with kings, but not peasants. Eh? And Una go back, the East Portlanders would go back and put Miss Vaz there, who should say to her, it is on the backs of those people that I am building my empire, and therefore I will treat them as Dives did, to give even the crumbs to Lazarus, so he knows that he still has a place. It is quite ridiculous that we are even having this conversation when the leaders have just said, boy, it's just Edward, that's another behavior. So it's civil society, it's the university student must say, is this the behavior that we want to be displayed at the leadership level? Is this what we have come to accept now, back from master side, when me talk no dog back? Warmington are done. Mr. Warmington is a done. Because trust me, I tell you, say, nobody in a Jamaica no look like them have the metal or the mantra to say to this man, you are a national disgrace and you need to go. You are a national disgrace. You should be at the solid waste management, is a befitting title. You should be there when the garbage truck are going to the Riverton City. That is unacceptable behavior. But you say if little poor judge did come out, Luke Judge did come out and make them statement that like I've made some in some other public area, and people come out and talk about, I'm so ashamed of you. I thought you were of a pedigree material. But when you say things like that, it is offensive to the person. It is offensive because as a leader, we're expecting better from you. Truth of the matter, I have had to apologize in some forum, but because I recognize that leadership call for a certain level of maturity and a certain level of prestige. And it is not because you feel like you have the office that you should have the power to do and say something. I've had to apologize, but me no hear nobody I call up Mr. Warmington. My Dan Warmington, Dan Warmington. Him can't even beat up Andrew.
Let me say something. Let me say something to
Yeah,
you.
you can beat up Andrew. Not afraid of Andrew.
I went on this program today. I was live on Roots FM. I was live on Jam Talk Vibes Radio. I don't know if I'm live on it now. But let me say something to you. And I made it absolutely clear that Mr. Warmington is a national disgrace to the parliament and to the people of this country. He's a national disgrace to the justice of the pieces in this country, or justice of the peace rather, in this country, pieces, justice of the peace in this country.
The pieces.
Pieces. I apologize about that. I end up misspoke. He is a disgrace to the national award that he got. I'm the Governor
Can
General.
you imagine? Can you imagine?
Governor General.
Can you imagine the highest order, highest award given to people for exemplary service and contribution to this country is placed on Edward and Everald. I know people who, when you send up the write-up for them, they are not even given it. And it is placed on him. So it means that any puss dog rat can get the award. You can be any Muma Lashy and Master Lashy and our Lashy, and you get the award. And that is what we are now branding as the new type of leadership. That when we don't agree with people because of political or gender sensitive issues, we just trash talk them and we just behave like say we are Master God and we flashlight now and roll thunder. You ever call the man chink? So you call the man drunk. You, Jeffrey Tavares, knows that when people call you drunk in Jamaica, it's when them carry you to the lowest of the lowest state. And that garbage behavior is what the politics and the politicians of Jamaica are now represented. Is that their new brand? Warmington, gutter politics, the new brand of the Jamaica Labour Party.
I promise members of my family that I will not go down the road that Warmington went down. Because they know that I was so upset when I saw it. I was so livid when I saw it. And I promise members of the Tavares family that I will not go down the road of the great Mrs. Everald Warmington, because that's not a Mr.
Muma Lashy.
Mrs.
Muma Lashy. Muma Lashy Warmington.
It is a disgrace.
But Jeffrey,
it's a disgrace. Remember, we're going to say, George, it's a disgrace. But you hear nothing. I am waiting to hear from the Speaker of the House, who doesn't know the role of the House of Parliament herself. Because she keep on referring to the Parliament of Jamaica as the highest court of the land, which is not. So I'm waiting for her to say something come next week Tuesday about the behavior of Mrs. Everald Warmington, Mrs. Lashy Warmington.
Well, you remember when you used to behave them way, if as a boy you behave them way, they say yeah, Sissy and Lashy, and nobody would want you to be in their social circle. It's not cool. Warmington has made it cool that you can trace and be a bad and you can demoralize your opponent. And I think you see the office of the political ombudsman now, this is where this would have been reported too. And at a stroke of a pen, they make sure that God, because the ombudsman would now have to step in once Mr. Bell makes the report that he was demoralized for her to take actions against the minister, the JLP boy, who carried on that.
Yes.
Now said the minister, because to say the office of the minister is an insult. To say that is the office of the minister is an insult. If that is what we can produce in Jamaica, to be leaders, then might as well, my God, give me Dudus, I'll vote for him. Give me George Pang, I'll vote for him. If those people were considered to be renegades,
What
Oh,
is the one who's in prison that was represented by the president of the Senate? What's his name again?
Dudus.
Not Dudus, man.
Christopher Cook.
No, I'm not talking about Christopher Cook. Who was
Oh,
represented by the president of the Senate? Who sing the
Vibes
reggae song?
Cartel. Vibes
Vibes. Give me
Cartel.
Vibes
Yeah,
Cartel.
man, give me Vibes. Yeah, give me Skeng. Give me somebody else, because once upon a time we were told that these were the undesirables. And them people are undesirable. Me never see George Pang behave so. Never see Dudus behave like that. Never saw Skeng Dong behave like that. Never have I seen Vibes. I ask a man for send back him shoes. You see what young people have to choose between?
And
I don't know,
these are
less
the
of two
people.
evil this, you know. Oh,
But George, these are the people who we are gonna have to reform our constitution. These are the
of course.
people
Of course,
who
to entrench it. Them the all Anna, when them done the entrenchment, you know, them are gonna try me for treason and tell you say you can't come to Jamaica. Because we talk about them, the Voom Vavam and the Vim Vavom. The fact of the matter, now Jeffrey, you realize why democracy starts at the time of when they are soliciting our vote, and the day after we have given them permission to go out and carry on in this fashion. And this is what you're seeing over and over in the Jamaican politics. And then for Ms. Dalrymple to say that we are the highest ambassadors of sound morals and value, that we must hold ourselves to a higher standard. What a hypocrite.
pass hypocrisy.
Only do this effortlessly.
She needs to resign. She needs to step
Look.
down and speak at the House.
Look, you know, put party aside. Miss Dalrymple was a woman that I had. When you hear her speak about the people who she represent in Trelawney, and you hear the love that you used to hear she extol for the people that she have for her. And then when you peel back the layers, and then you hear the other part of the Dalrymple factor, you know, say you don't want to get into cascades and hear say, but then Miss Dalrymple, I see her speaker now, and that nice paragon of virtue that I once held in high regard, that you really reflected something that I thought that was so wonderful about you, just the respect and the tolerance, and you put political affiliation aside, and that is it. And then now when me hear you come talk about Miss Blomberg, and then you had the gall to ask that we go for the standing order, if we go read the standing order, but Mr. Warmington, only not hold him to the same principle. And he has done so much, and he has done it in the House. He has done it in front of the nation. Him disrespect reporter, him not answerable to the police or anybody else. Only the people are saying catching. Well, maybe we need to have a situation where the people of South St. Catherine tell you that is the sort of people that they are manufacturing that will hold offices. But again, it is really distasteful, to say the least.
It is past distasteful, because I am trying to figure out something here. Is it that Warmington has some secret for the Prime Minister for the Labour Party?
It seemed that Mr. Warmington is not just the Prime. That may I tell you, Jeffrey. This is like when I was growing up and people used to say Mr. Seaga used to come in front of the cabinet and he would have tell which minister for shut up because this one and that one. It's all hearsay. I don't know if that is true, but it would be sad. But Mr. Warmington is reflecting the same sort of value system that another leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, and I would hate to think that is the best of leadership, that we're just there to hold the other one hostage by saying that I have a secret on you that you don't want to get out. Because I'm sure Mr. Warmington, there are some secrets about Mr. Warmington that people say, I don't know if it's true, but it lends itself to one believing that Mr. Warmington believes that him is the baddest thing around here, and I'm probably sitting down and about a couple thousand guns because him feel like him can bring the fight to Jamaica. He's not answerable, and him not respect any Jamaican. only people in respect are the people who laugh with him and say, "Go there, Daddy Warmington."
Listen to this. In 2016, the Jamaica Labour Party caretaker for South West St. Catherine, Clifton Everald Warmington, caused quite a stir after he called members of the Jamaica Defence Force assholes. Is in the Gleaner? Is in the Star? All because the soldiers have said to him, "Sir, you cannot go inside the polling station with so much of your entourage." Warmington went on to say, "You can't talk to me, or no whatever asshole." This is the man.
Above the law. Above the law. The
members
power.
of the Jamaica Defence Force.
Of course. And these people must respect him. This is the same.
Let me find something here again and make you all listen to this. Continue talking, George. Make I find this thing here.
Yeah. Yeah, man, him above the law, man. I tell you, Mr. Warmington spins power at his whims and fancy. He says and gets away with just about everything, and so one has to left to wonder what it is that he has on the Prime Minister and members of his cabinet, equally what he has on PNP and members of their team. Why he still, nobody seemed to want to stand up to Mr. Warmington, but then removed out the office of the public ombudsman. The office have asked him on several occasions to desist from naming, calling people's name, and basically being disrespectful by saying things that are offensive in nature and sometimes can lead to violence. And I'm sure he was one of them that was happy to see that office go.
Let me play this.
A video depicting a verbal altercation between a Southwest St. Catherine Member of Parliament Everald Warmington and several policemen has gone viral on social media. Mr. Warmington could be heard saying the incident took place in his constituency. The incident reportedly took place on Labor Day. It is understood that the dispute was primarily between Mr. Warmington and a deputy superintendent of police. Warmington could also be heard on a phone call with a person he referred to as his colleague Minister Horace. Mr. Warmington also referred to one of the policemen as a boy and accused the policeman of posturing as if the policeman intended to draw a firearm. Mr. Warmington could also be heard saying he is exempt from the curfew order under the Disaster Risk Management Act. Mr. Warmington also insisted he was disrespected by the police.
Me now put up with this no more than a horse. Okay, me done. The man come up, he come out trying to pull to a draw gun. So I must be in safety. How can I threaten this commission? I did not draw my gun. You just say hold on for you, but then you pull it after them. You try this shit with me, so you try to me. Minister, me now put up with this. Okay? The man come and draw, pull in clip and draw fucking gun here. And I tell him comes must video. Listen, I call the minister. Now, some of them have video me talk to him. Listen, I call the minister. I have a video. Mr. I'm exempt. This boy comes to the care. This guy tell me what I'm exempt from. Look. Well, let me tell you right now. Alright, let's try this now. And the first, this gentleman here, and this is the inside here. The first thing I'm going to me, we can't move it time, the man, we're going to send them to a big friend. We're representing. This is not politics, I'm going to talk politics up. Okay? And we tried it now. It's disrespectful. Mr. I call the minister, I'm going to tell you must video me. Can I call you? If you say video when you talk, fine to him. But we can't call the minister and commissioner and put him up in the so you must video me. Okay, man, we tell this now. I'm here now 22 years of member party, and the first time a police disrespected this constituency. First time. We get 11,000 votes, we win by 5,000. And you can't even leave this constituency, you'll leave it tonight. I'm exempt. Rude. Look, man, look at the call my colleague and the gun. That's the problem.
Now tell me something now. Because he win by 5,000 vote plus,
Mm-hmm.
that give him the authority
He's above the
to
law.
behave in that manner
And
to
and the
members of the
police
security forces.
and the police who are public sector workers that is answerable to the government who is elected have to stand up there and be humiliated because one man draws the whole of the power and the rest of us have to adhere to this one man's whim and fancy. The man is immature, and I think that the police should have taken him to the mental health facility. And the minister, obviously, if that is the minister that he's talking to, should
He
have
was
said to
talking to
him,
Harrison, of course.
right, I don't know, because anybody can call them phone and try to intimidate
Well,
their
I'm telling you, he
call.
was talking to Minister
Right.
Strong.
Right. And those policemen, you have to, it is only sad that you don't even know if they were transferred or put in some hellhole. Because remember, I know when you touch one of God's, the gods of Jamaica, which is 63 gods of Jamaica, you are going to be abused by the powers that be, and they're going to find ways and means to make you the villain and punish you. And it's a clear display that this gentleman believes that he's not answerable to anybody. Him calling him colleague to tell him colleague that the man pulled a gun. It is his side of the story. And I'm sure that if you probably look at, if you hear the police part of it, it's a totally different story. But it just goes to show you that there are two rules for Jamaica, because as a justice of the peace, I know that I can ask in special circumstances to be allowed, depending on what I may have to do. I may have to go to the police station, but I am still required by law to adhere to the laws of the land. And again, I'm saying to you, Jeffrey Tavares, the double standard is what is killing Jamaica. Is it the law for everybody or the law for some? So is it true then that what the Animal Farm depicts, all animals are born equal, but some more so than others? And the lack of respect, because I'm sure that if Mr. Warmington was another MP, maybe even Mark Golin, it would have gone a different way. Or even Andrew, it would have gone a different way, not because of the office, but even how they would want to determine how they can make sure that the end of it, the police are given the respect that they ought to be given, and the member of parliament or the prime minister is given the respect that he or she is given. And if he behaves that way because he feels that he has the right because of the 5,000 vote, then what will he not do? What will he not do? And so again, the people of South St. Catherine, is this the best that you can do? I know that your love for Mr. Warmington runs deep in your vein, but come on, man. We need to have better than that. If we behave chaka in front of we pity them, what are we going to produce? Is what we input, is what we're getting out. This is the reason why we find so much hostility. This is why we find so much hostility. One man have right and the rest have none. But Marley say until the power at be give up some of them power, there will never be any sort of justice. It's going to be war.
Let me say something to you, George. I must say good night to my former principal of the former VP of the Green Island Comprehensive High School, who was like a father to me in school, Mr. Philip Hall and Mrs. Hall. They're watching me right now. Let me say something to you, Sir George Cook. And everybody know who me is, you know. I dare Everald Warmington to come to me with that. I dare him.
No, me that pay for watch a show there, you know. Jeffrey, me that pay any day. But Jeffrey, what I've said, I don't want you to dare Mr. Warmington. What we need to say is that as a leader, you have to understand the role and the responsibility that comes with a certain office. And if you feel that you are not of the temperament or you do not possess the finer apparels to fulfill that mandate, then you really should step aside. Because Is it that we're going to continue to encourage this sort of tit for tat and butter for fish? Show me no respect because me come from, and like what my views is because I represent this brand. And so the best way is always to divide, conquer, and rule. It can't be, because that is why you see this outpouring of hostility everywhere we go now. This me. The first thing, this me. And then it turns out that we create the two divide. Or say the boy Warmington, this Jeffrey Round, so and me that do him, and then you look for an occasion where that sort of bad feelings that we hold towards each other is played out, and it end up sometimes that people lose their life. And that is not where we need to be going as a nation. We need to be more tolerant of each other and have more respect for each other. And so we need to call out these bad players and say, no, man, make the team, man. Me not like how your behavior is a me, myself, and I, and a team has no I in it. It's us. And then when you go put that out there now on the international stage, him now jump up and ask where you stay and bought money there now. Him now ask the public account chairman where the people's money, where we have $2 trillion, where people in this country who have served this country, like your former principal and his wife, who, when you look on them pension, it's like Jesus never liked them at all. Him not defend those positions. Him not defend that people go to hospital and they're getting poor care and cockroach at them bed partners. He doesn't get up and use his political bully pulpit to defend the poor, the very poor of South St. Catherine, who believes that this man is going to deliver good to them, and all them can get is the Comedy Central MP. Hippie Pure Everald, you have done it again. You deserve an Actor Boy Award, because trust me, there's something fundamentally wrong when we accept that kind of behavior in this country.
I believe that Everald Warmington has a mental problem.
Well, him and some other member of parliament. Look here. Parliamentarians must take the God out of their title. They do it effortlessly. And the mere fact that Mr. Bell had to remind him, I'm a citizen of this country. I'm a proud Portlander. I have a right to be here. You do not have a right to deny me. Look, we have an act that is called Access to Information. It is the most decent thing to do to say to your caretaker counterpart, we are going to be fixing these roads. But Mr. Warmington is treating it like it's a JLP gift to Portlanders. This is the legacy that they want. Yes, the mass Warmington come bless with the poor with a little bit of him, the money where he make. Where some time ago they were questioning if it is ethical for you to be sitting in the parliament and getting a contract of that nature. And so him come to bless the Portlanders.
Little of his case benefit and spoils.
Yeah. Yes, and the money where I make from the money where I make from Miss Mass Lashy Ministry, yes, of tracing and downplaying everybody else because him is God Almighty to the rest of us. I mean, you call Lisa Jezebel. If me was Richard, I would have fixed your business. You don't know nothing about my wife. You don't know nothing about my wife. I mean, how you fucking call the woman Jezebel?
This man is allowed to go into the people's parliament, the people's house. Riff Raff Dally, go away. You are armed, you are Jezebel. Go away. You are Quashi lawyer. You're only fit to be at Riverton Dump. Is this the leadership that this country has to offer to its people and to its children? Is this the leader that we want to say we're going to leave an example for our children of tomorrow? Prime Minister Andrew Holness, is this the leader?
Jeffrey,
is this the individual Prime Minister Holness that you're going to continue having the parliament to disrespect the people of this country? And you, Prime Minister Holness, keep on saying that you're here for the poor people of this country? You, Prime Minister Holness, came from a respectable home. You, Prime Minister Holness, have respect for your mother and father. You, Prime Minister Holness, have respect for your family. And this is the way you're not treating poor people in this country?
But Jeffrey, Mr. Wallace,
and drunk, right?
nobody's gonna. What was it? What all the tune got, Jeffrey? Nobody's gonna hold me down. Nobody's gonna. I've got to keep on moving. That's the new anthem. The wronger we are is the badder we are, and a bad people time. And that is why you have the culture that is so pervasive that you can be wrong and be strong, and bad man run things, right? That if I was prime minister of the country, I don't want nobody calling me no bro god. To even like myself and that being is wrong. But the fact that you're bro, you're bad man leadership, and now it's like when the scripture said the kingdom of God is carried out by a violent man. Here comes Warmington, one of your biggest, baddest boys. He's coming with his gun swinging, and anybody who get caught up in his party go and decimate them like the Terminator. This is sadly where we have descended, and this is why you're in this dispensation. You need to look at who we are going to be promoted as leaders, and that is why you need a national youth leadership program that we can now educate people about the role and responsibility of what a leader should be and what values you should want to reflect. Remember, you can't mandate values, but if you reflect them, people will see those things in you and want to emulate. And what we don't want is an emulation of a Mr. Warmington in every nooks and cranny, everywhere we go now, and in every little meeting we go, we have to go in there, we have to go, we have to denigrate the other person because we not believing in them, and we have to show. But more so, you tell a citizen of Jamaica that them don't have a right to come on a tour because of your scarce benefits and spoil, and that you are telling them that you don't respect the municipality, you don't respect local representative, and then you can't tell them what is entrenched. I mean, no, Mr. Warmington, no, not about constitution, because that is not even a position. It is a recognized position in the structure. If you are having a meeting as a community leader under the SDC structure, you are required to invite the council, the caretakers of the other party that did not win at the last election. So if at the local level you are asking us to recognize that if we are going to develop Jamaica, all voices must contend, then why as a parliamentarian you feel that you had the right to be speaking to Mr. Bell as he was a slave on your plantation and you're a lord to him? And then you're going to now demoralize the man by calling him ticks, flea, and drunker. Well, you know, my choice word for Mr. Warmington would be, he is the head of the Drunker Association of Jamaica. We can't put it any clearer than that. He is the head of the drunk, and if that is what the parliament must accept as leadership, then God help the young people who must be confused to say, if him can't do that, then why me can't do that?
But not only that, George.
Why a student can go back to a teacher at Tivoli and tell her, say, yo, not chat to me. Wait until me tell you to teach. Why him can't do that?
But not only that, George. Not only that. We are saying we want to say bye-bye to the slave bucky masters in London. When them same one down here have us as slave in this country. Them same one down here have us as the only thing I need to do is put a shackle on our neck.
Look here. Remember that Mr. Warmington look for Mr. Golden and tell him, say, him a white man, you know, and him for going back to Europe. Mr. Golden's father did more for this country than Mr. Warmington will ever do in decades. Right? Of course, we have the classism, but I don't know nobody not tell Mr. Warmington for go bleach. If you have an inferior complex because you're black, then go bleach. Right? You are not allowed to speak to people this way. Is unacceptable unless we have thrown out the principle of self-respect and the respect that we give to others. And I am again saying that Mark Jeffrey Golden, if that is the right man name, Jeanette Calder, we must call for an end to MP Warmington. Every church leader must say, this is not what we want. This is not an individual who reflects our best values. It is we can't have these double standards, because if we are going to accept it from Mr. Warmington, if We must accept it for the student who can disrespect him teacher at Tivoli, who can disrespect him teacher up there. So because then he's only exercising his democratic right to speech.
I'm gonna
and we must call for people like Mrs. Vaz to say, you must never stand on the side of wrong. You must step up to the plate, not because you're a woman, but because you're a leader of this country, and said, no, 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 no. I may not agree with Mr. Bell politics, it's not mine, but I will respect him as a colleague. And so I don't feel that I need to keep information from him because we are all representing the people of East Portland and he has a right to know. And Minister, I respectfully disagree with you. We must have people with backbone in our politics who can say to their colleagues in the police force, in the army, in schools, in church, you are wrong and I will not support you on that. And then that is when we will say to young people, if I can do it, you can do it. We must all stand up for what is truth, what is right, and what is just, and what is decent in this country. Because Jamaica, out of many, we are all one people. And I am saying, the mere fact that you got up this morning, this was a major headline. It was on social media. And we're going on like it's business as usual. If we say that you are to be elected, you are not ready. You must defend the position that we want to see as the end picture for every Jamaican in this country.
I personally, when it was sent to me, I'm not boasting or anything, but I personally send it to the Prime Minister's number. I WhatsApp it to the Prime Minister, and my exact comment to him was this: Prime Minister, good night, Prime Minister. It is full time. You as a Prime Minister and leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, do something about Everald Warmington behavior. It is unacceptable. And it's full time now. You stand up against this man and say enough is enough. Enough is enough. I'm gonna play the clip in what he said about Mark Golding. Because he believes he's Mr. Bull Duppy and Duppy Conqueror. And this is the person we have leading, this is the person we have in charge of the work ministry in this country.
With no compunction, Minister without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister and five-term Member of Parliament, Everald Warmington, hammered opposition leader Mark Golding, naming him the backroom master leader that will never become Prime Minister. The JLP Area 2 chairman relentlessly clobbered the opposition during a conference in St. Catherine Northeast Sunday night. He said the PNP started the conversation about colour, but warned he will finish it.
Where Mark Golding, Madam Fall come from? A white man, white one from England. Okay? So don't talk about my leader Barnya. And you attack Siaga then. And you not attack Mr. One, yes, my leader, PNP and this Prime Minister way. Jamaica, if he wants to be Prime Minister, go back to England, Ireland, Wales, or Scotland. But then beat Michael Hanjo.
Warmington stands confident the JLP will remain in government for as long as they want it to be, declaring there is no opposition.
They can talk my nonsense left, right, and center. They can't beat me, not at all. They can go home. They can go home. Can't beat Andrew Holness. Can't beat Labour Party. We stand resolute. Defend Jamaica.
Meanwhile, the MP also scolded Jamaicans who lead protests about bad roads and other inadequacies. He said he does not respond to demonstrations and warned they may not receive assistance if that's the route they take.
One asked me down a while ago, say them promise water somewhere bag walk, should he demonstrate? I say if you were fair something labor right, wouldn't talk about demonstrate. You talk to us, talk to Peter, then talk to us, but liberate about demonstrate.
He admitted he took 2 years to fix a road in his constituency after residents led a demonstration. The MP announced he intends to leave politics and asserted he will continue to say whatever he wants as long as he does not embarrass the Prime Minister. Veronique Bowen, CGM Live.
Now tell me something now.
So I'm gonna tell you. So I'm gonna tell you. So I'm gonna tell you.
May
Remember that.
God help this
Remember,
country.
just like no, it is a shameful day. Look, I've never been interested in color, and I tell you that classism is real in Jamaica. My last name is Cook, and I've heard people refer to the black set of cooks and the brown ones, the white skin ones, and
Not you alone.
it not trouble me.
The
Yeah,
reference to
and
the Tavares.
it seemed like
It's not you alone, George.
yeah, it seemed like when them said Jeffrey, them hope that it would offend some of us. It not offend me. I'm proud to be black. But the mere fact that you can have Mr. Warmington on a stage and all him can do is excite the supporters by trash talking Mark Golding. And likewise, Mr. Golding probably participate in this kind of behavior. It means that you really don't have anything to tell the people of substance. Because I don't want you to spend your time coming on a public platform for trash talk. Because Mr. The John Golding Institute that has catered to people with disability in this country, this which is still a living organization providing human service to disabled individuals in this country. What has Mr. Warmington done that can compare to that? And the fact that I'm going to talk about Mark Golding. Mark Golding is said to have been born, I think, right here in Jamaica. So he's a
That's right.
true
He was born right here in Jamaica.
right. He is and then you know what saddened me about that clip a while ago is the garbage that we are willing to take as voters.
And
That
we
is
still
so
even yay.
and we laugh at it and we ring bell and we toot our horn about it. It tells me that we like to be fed on a steady diet of garbolatry. And it's a distraction to the fact that these failed leaders, these bankrupt leaders, continue to use it. Him say he would have resigned. Him now embarrass the prime minister, but he became a minister. And that did not stop him. He's relentless in his pursuit of tearing down a fellow Jamaican, bad mouthing people. And oftentimes, Jeffrey, if you know how conflicts are built up, is through these propaganda mechanism that people will go out in the street and one will feel like they have to defend and one will feel like they have to oppose. And before you know it, again, it ends up in bloodshed. Mr. Warmington is not killed, but an innocent Jamaica for defending what is a lie. So Jamaicans have to ask ourselves, no, are we going to continue to accept this? Because look here, if me tell you, say, none of the two political parties has ever completed any of the things that they put out in their manifesto. No
None.
member no member of parliament have a job description, but other people are held to a high account. So your civil servants are them a big luff the job description that them have to produce, or else they will be axed. But then again, some of them are put there by political appointment, and them don't have to do nothing. We go look for a friend them and we give them promotion and them slack up.
JUTC.
Yeah, yeah, and the people who are there who are so devoted to the organization suffer. We have to make a decision in Jamaica. Are we going to continue to allow this sort of gutter politics to lead us, or we're going to move away from it and say, look here, Virgin, if you come on a stage, give me something substantive where you're going to do, where me can measure your success by, me can evaluate your performance before me give you another 5 years in office. And we have to move away from this because, again, as I said, the generation, when you look at just the level of hostility that is being displayed by our youths, and just that they are frustrated when them see this and them and say, boy, politics are idiot thing. I mean, look for how the people them they deal with each other. How can we hold them to a standard higher than that when we have accepted. And it goes back to the narrative that I always I tell. When those young people are on that plaza soliciting money illegally, and when I try to stop them and them say, how is it that you don't hold big people to the same standard? Jeffrey, we are hypocrites. My
We
generation
are.
failed Jamaica because when we see Warmington in a public, we turn we back on him and tell him say it's a shame, it's a shame. He must do the walk of shame. We turn we back. But you know what? People would friend him up and say, Lord, that's Everald misunderstood in many ways because we're looking at like a scarce benefits and spoil and some and we want to keep we walking. We want to keep. But you see, like me now, where the band if you have no job, me now nobody like that could be my leader. Them could
But
have been
but but not
them
only that,
really could have been
George. Not only that, George. You see, if I see him in public, when I say to you over there, you, he's a disgrace to the people of this country. If we come out of the parliament, I would
I
say to him,
certainly
and I don't
I,
care.
I certainly would, and that is probably why. My friend Elijah Cummings, I think it was, our the Lewis guy said, I am always good trouble. Me certainly not gonna sit down in a no meeting with Mr. Warmington and
I
keep
would
quiet.
never.
I would never. I would say you're a national disgrace. You can't talk to me. You're not a good example. You can't talk to me. Me know why you're not from you because all you do is lash, lash, lash.
I'm gonna play back this.
Jeffrey, the people of Jamaica have to take a stand, and we have to remember that if we want to change the paradigm, if that paradigm shift that we want, this leadership can't hold. Look at internationally, this look like a Donald Trump big time perform.
But
Big
listen, but listen, George. Listen. If this was America, you'd hear the media houses with it left, right, and center. There's a media house in our country that is owned by the Jamaica Labour Party who does nothing.
look. Everywhere you go, media houses have they're in pockets with the politician. The Prime Minister paid 7 million to rebroadcast the budget presentation because he felt that him want people to hear what him have to say. That $7 million you and I, Jeffrey, Tavares, and your listener believe that could be it could go to schools, it could go to our infirmary, it certainly could go to our
It
failing,
it could
uh, uh,
go to KPH,
it could go to
wherein they
right.
pay some
It,
people for go down there, go spray the rat and cockroach down there.
look at it in terms of the early childhood commission that pays $36,000 to pre-train teachers that have NT vet up to level 3 and only pay for one teacher to have a degree in our early childhood institution. No, and sometimes these schools don't even have sponsorship from corporate Jamaica.
I have something to
To
say to you. Remember what you're gonna say, George. Remember we're speaking about our teachers and
hmm
retirement and so forth and principals. Do you
hmm
know that some of the retired teachers and principals only get 1,200 a month on their pension?
No, that sound like that not sound right, but me I gonna say it possible. But what me know though is that trust me, for a retired person in this country to survive on pension, if they don't have contribution coming in from families and friends. But I went to a retired teacher's home who was getting water from her neighbor next door through a hose and I bawled. I honestly had to bawl. Me not a crier, but that it made me bawl. There are retired teachers in this country who are going to bed tonight, and they had to decide between the light bill and food and the other expenditure of health, and they are suffering. Civil servants in this country are suffering. The good ones, let me say that, the good
And
ones,
and, and,
because
and, and,
you
and
pay
yet
for it, and yet you can pay 7 million. The disrespect, that is part of the disrespect, Jeffrey. That is where in God's name would you want to be paying out money for a rebroadcast other than you look at those the institutions and personnel in your country that are poorly paid. So when you give a minimum wage of $13,000 and the employer say, look here, may I forget rid of you, because with that you're cutting into my expenditure, and may have to choose between you and making sure that I have the light in the house. You have really not done anything for the Jamaican people. Hip hip hooray. We must not be carried away on these little concessions that are
But
made by
George,
our government when the very suit that the prime minister wear, I mean I pay for it. Now we put people in work that we have to pay for them clothes, for them look good. Other people have to work and buy them clothes. Prime minister got buy clothes. We not for pay for that. Cut out the fat them, right? You go do a job on my behalf and me poor and you rich. What an irony. Eh?
we're sick as hell in this country.
Me a suffer. My life no better. But you cannot jump up and down pan plane and have Muma Lashi tell a citizen of Jamaica, you don't even have a right to know what is happening. Only when we bless you, you can know. And that person still has an office. God help us. God help this little country. We need to get up. This, if tomorrow morning Mr. Warmington is forced to resign, it's a victory for the people to say that government is answerable to the people who elect them. Poor people must come out of the trance that these people are ever going to do anything to make their life any better. We need to get up and fight for the right to be included in the decision making, that if not this generation, the generation to come do not have to live in this absolute poverty that we're having to endure as a result of our Lord and Master Edward Warmington, who can call you drunk or look on him too. Eh?
Great again.
No. It's a government of Jamaica too. Yes, but not you. You told it in Parish Council. So I am following. No, you don't follow my tour. I'm a tour with, you see, it's a political tour. Right, and it's a government, so I want to know what is happening. Caretaker not recognize. Hold on. Caretaker not recognize. I am a citizen of Jamaica. I want to know what is happening. You hear me? Caretaker is not recognized in the Constitution of Jamaica. I don't know about caretaker. I'm a citizen of this country. Well, and I have interest in this. Keep your interest to yourself. No. And your yard. No. Don't come on my tour. Don't come on my tour. May I share my interest? I don't need you here. I'm here with the member of parliament. Enough. Well, I am here. You say consult with me? I am here. Me not tour with consult with him. Tour with the mayor. I am here. All right, tour with the mayor. I am here. So wait, who invited you? Only drink dark and fly when you invite me. Well, guess what? You know who you invite. So if you invite me as well, you invite me. Drink dark and fly when you invite me. I don't know which concept of the caretaker, regardless of party. Regardless of the party. I don't differentiate parties, you know. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't different parties. I don't know what you're talking about parties, Minister. I'm a citizen of this country. I'm told member of parliament. If you need information, ask her. I will ask her when it's time. Right. I don't know what concept of the caretaker. So who's the councillor here? So you? I am the councillor here. Yes. I'm the MP aspirant. Aspirant? For this board. No worries. Right. I'm the MP aspirant for this board. Close your eyes then. What? Close your eyes. Close your eyes if you don't want to see. I am here.
And Anne-Marie Vaz, who represent the people, stood there and allowed this low life, this chink, this barfly.
No, me not. Jeffrey.
No, he can call someone. I'm gonna call him the name. This chink, this barfly.
Jeffrey, so it's easy for us to get to where Mr. Warmington is. You know, when they go low, we have to go high. Because, I mean,
agree with you, but good God Almighty, man.
Go low, he invited us to call him Squinging Boot and toss the letter. Yeah, but when will it stop? This is the indifference that is and the intolerance in this country that is killing us. You know, it is crippling our development. We have lost our way when we continue to allow people like this in public spaces and give them a platform to be bully the other people. Because, poor Mr. Bell is there saying that I could have matched him. I love that. Mr. Bell said it's not that I'm lost for a few choice words that I could have even used on your platform to describe him. But
Oi.
chose not to go there and to practice self-control. And we must say, thumbs up, Mr. Bell. Thumbs up. I understand in the heat of the moment we could have do the thing. We could have roll out the thing. But invite him for a private show, Mr. Bell, and I will bet on you that you would beat him left, right, and center. And we can even provide you with some material. But Jeffrey, is that really what we want? We are asking that leadership must take the people to a higher place where we all can agree to disagree, but do so respectfully. Because remember, when you take away the PNP and you take away the JLP, we're all Jamaicans. And I want to believe that I am my brother's keeper regardless of politics, class, creed, religion. I'm my brother's keeper. And if we are going to succeed in this country, we have to find a way to do it together. We must have our agreement, and we must agree to disagree, but we can do it with the respect. There was a time when you looked at PNP and JLP support, and people were saying, "Look here, them people have vote different from me, but look here, I'm a neighbor, I'm a friend, them, and I have to respect them." We must call the leadership to that. And we must call for a removal of people who are not reflecting the best value, that are sending mixed messages that are going to cost the young people of Jamaica. I have to ask Mr. Holness, would you want Mr. Warmington to be to be a leader for your children to demonstrate this kind of behavior? Would this be acceptable behavior that you want to display around your children? And what will that mean for the future of Jamaica? If you're not accepting it in your space, then you shouldn't allow somebody like that in the public space. It's damaging. It sends a wrong message, and we need to start to plot a way forward that we move away from this kind of politics.
George, I am not going to comment on certain things I see in the comment chat here, because a lot of people will not put away politics and think about this country of ours. A lot of people will not put away party politics and think about this.
You mean they might criticize me in the chat, Jeffrey?
No. This person is saying, when the PNP said 31 million is chicken feed, where were you guys? What is wrong with you people?
Yeah, look here. The relevance of those people is just to say it's not to ever create a position. And again, tolerance required that we say, all right, you know about the 31. It is unacceptable. All right? It is unacceptable because we go for the goose or we go for the gander. It is unacceptable. It no matter who do it. You have to remember that every time it is being done to the Jamaica, we are suffering, but we owe $2 trillion. If you work out 4 million people in Jamaica and you work out $2 trillion, you see how much you and your pitney them owe. We can't allow those people to continue to lead us if they are not going to do so with honesty, decency, and certainly accountability. That everything that is done is for the advancement of the people. Now, if you feel as a Jamaican that we have advanced under the two political directorates, yes, we like to talk about the Michael Manley era, that Michael Manley created free education, Michael Manley uplift the black man, but we have to kick the ball further from this. So we have to ask ourselves, why do we owe $2 trillion in debt? Where are our industries that are producing, that are going to lift our people out of poverty? Why are children coming out? Did you hear the damning report about Holy Trinity? 75% of the children reading below the grade 4 level, a secondary school in Jamaica. And that is why these are where you send the so-called undesirables to because we not really value them. is this what we really want for that generation that is supposed to come and take up the mantle and run with it? And that is not just Holy Trinity that you have in that problem. You have the Donald Quarry. You have school where you know that is the is the least of the production in a Jamaica. I go to them school there. So you just create a space for them, but you know, no hope for those children. And I would like for us to rally behind the principle of Holy Trinity and to try to bring them up to the reading level that they are supposed to be in, and then to do the evaluation and see where they are going to be able to carry out a skill and help them with self-actualization. But I don't want people like Warmington and the oldness with government badness and bro God be the slogan that them have to follow, that you can be low because as long as you're low and you can go fire a gun and you can join a political gang, you're okay because you will benefit from the scarce benefits and spoil. I don't want Jamaicans to have to feel that way. I want everybody to feel that they are empowered to work, raise a family, do business here, and to live in paradise. Because after all, you know, if you take away the politician and you put some good people there, we'll start put the people at Jamaica above their personal gains. Place with a nice. The place, just imagine with me, Jeffrey Tavares, if you had 63 people that were devoted to the development and the sustainable development of this country, who had the making of a Harry Belafonte, a Betty Adele, a Louise Bennett, who just loved people and wanted to see people develop.
Even our good friend Janet Calder, our good friend Ambassador Ward.
Jeanette, you have unsung heroes, Sheila Nicholson, yes. Nora Dartner. We can name people who devoted their lives and service to the betterment of the Jamaican people. If those were the people that we were putting up on a pedestal, your principal, who I have no doubt shaped you.
Oh yes,
not to be the not to be the saucy mouth black dog that you are. I'm sure they were paid.
Oh yes, Mr. and Mrs. Philip Hall.
Yeah, there's still hope.
Yes.
Still hope. Yeah, Jeffrey Tavares. Look, Ambassador Jeffrey Tavares, Rattigan, Alisa Chang. There are people who love this country. Look here, the diaspora. Everybody in the diaspora could have taken their money, go visit other place and love them off and buy a place. You know, I mean, you have Jamaicans in the diaspora who them not even really have the means, but them give out a little because they love this rock. And this is what we need to encourage and to ignite in our people, the love of country above political, religious, and class behavior for the advancement of the country. Norman Manley did that when he created the social welfare, which we now know as the Social Development Commission, and at this graceful government organization, because they have moved away from empowering people to become the government of the day talk shop. And you have radio personalities who have bought into this. You have principals and pastors that have just said, let us put Jamaica aside and let us support these views. Let the views contend, man. It's a work in progress. But let us find 63 people who will say, I will serve. Who I will serve. And they will do that with the belief and the desire to see a better Jamaica. Because, guys, PNP and JLP, you have some good players. You have some good. I'm not going to short the baby with the bad.
You do.
But the bad players outweigh them in everything. It's the same thing with the police. You have some good policemen and women, you know. They hate where I go on in the police force, you know. But look at Jeffrey. They have to put food on their table. So then choose to look the other way. How long are we going to look the other way? How much more of us will have to die while we sit aside and look? No, all of us. Bob Marley says collective security for surety. And we just have to work together. We have to go out there, find good people, award them. I am starting the Unsung Heroes Award. I want to see Jamaicans doing good because the bad players are getting too much airtime. They might get too much airtime. So I want to find some people where me can highlight them story. Me know the media out there not gonna follow me because it probably not sexy. 10 people not dead. Minister now keep birthday party and the cake off $2,000. My God, minister, my God. Lord, the farmer sons of slaves have not taken their overcoming with no great humility. It's a shame. Eh? I wonder why we can't have the government ministers them going to KPH or sending their children to Holy Trinity. Would they? Would they, with a 75% literacy rate that they're reading below?
And that is why, Luke George, the people of this country must stand up and listen to when these people go up there and chat a whole bag of crap. Listen, and if they're putting things forward to say, listen, I will do things and actually doing it to make KPH, that people can go to KPH. We can't have our ministers flying off to Miami.
Yeah, and them need to stop this talk. But then Andrew no bill also poor people. No, the government of Jamaica, you, the people of Jamaica, bill it. Andrew is a representative of you. Him not do nothing where we not send him there for the, but we need to give him a bigger job description. If you cannot produce people of worth that don't represent the big yard, that we don't think that it has its place, but not in the parliament. You can banter each other when you don't see each other. And you know the sad thing about this to Jeffrey, when they are talk this, you know. When Warmington and them boy beat up a Jamaica house afterwards, nobody not gonna say to Warmington, you damn outsider, and the PNP them say we not go Jamaica house because we're not accepting this. You know. Everybody laugh and talk with each other because them two what we strong.
We too shall hold you down.
Right, so it is the people who must say we out here are got all and accountable, and we're not giving no more champagne for drink. If Lali
that is why Luke George, and Jamaicans and in the diaspora and all who listen from around the world and the Eastern Caribbean, that is why we must have a say in the forming of this constitution. We must not sit down and say we don't know what name, so go and Google and start read up the Jamaican constitution. Although it's an old system, but we must get a grip of what is going to happen. We must sit down and say to them, we don't want Andrew Holness to say to us, we will give you a ceremonial president. No, we need a president that is voted by the people who vote him in. We don't want no ceremonial thing. Hold on, look. We don't want a ceremonial thing where we have to be paying $442 million a year to upkeep him.
But can you imagine Senator Ward just saying that I would be happy to serve you as a ceremonial president? After all, I'm retired and I'm Ambassador Ward. I'm happy to put up myself to function in this capacity, to bring back some decency to the thing. I don't need a lavish house to live in to carry out that function, nor a lavish staff. I just need this to support me because I recognize that I'm giving service to country. This is what you need. You need people who have the ilk of our Ambassador Award to take that position and to really transform it into something more of a functional position that can go around and start the values and attitude and the national leadership program to educate the next set of leaders about the desire for servant-led leadership and the importance of what will happen. Because you see, I don't understand politicians in this country, because if you make the country better, everybody living there, you still get your payout. But you only make crime look so acceptable, and that it produce the outcome, and you can have 10 baby mother, 10 mistress. This is what the new politics looks like. You have
Mm-hmm.
10
And who
districts.
take care of them is go
And you go around to these very poor people and who don't give the little poor girl them the little benefits unless them lift up them skirt and possibly the little boys too. And you pay some man some big money for run a little contract and then you go up on Friday and you collect your little payoff. You talk rubbish about the rest of your political opponents, and yet still when they get together and at that club of Mark Mandela, the whole owner there with the little poor people them because all they accept as you make your deposit to demoralize them and say, "You can only serve us in this way," when you're really supposed to be doing things at night to make the life of the people. I don't know if we can go another 60 years and be so foolful. I think the people who elect these people need to get up out of this mindset that I am born, me diet, me eat the word diet, anything. You must fight for a betterment of a country. You can't fight for your individual need. You have to fight for something that is collectively going to serve the will of the Jamaican people. And you need to get out of these diet thing. The diet politics is killing us. The 5,000, I believe so, one must entrench in the law of Jamaica. Anybody who take any money for them vote must go to prison, must serve a life sentence in prison. Or must be fined up to $10 million. You must have a deterrent for people to take this important vote and just sell it for little and not. You sell out the Jamaican people like how them sell out Jesus Christ for 30 pieces of silver.
You know,
Jeffrey
you know,
Tavares, it is left up to our generation to take on this new fight. Don't know how longer them going make me live in Jamaica before them, because them start calling me terrorist. No. If you talk, them say you talk against the PNP and the jail people. But look here, I come here by belly pain and no, my mama, my papa. I don't own no political party, no allegiance. They own the people that are around me who come and tell me every day about them problem. And make me I get gray hair and me get heart attack and me get minor stroke. And them people them me feel for, because me recognize that if the righteous was in leadership, the people of Jamaica would be rejoicing. But right now, John no appear suffering around here. And it goes right across the board, especially the vanishing middle class.
but look, Jamaica don't have a middle class, you know. Jamaica has the rich and the poor. And that's it. We don't have a middle class in this country anymore. We do not.
Still have middle class, man. Now make
Where?
them fool you with that. Yeah. We still have middle class. Jeffrey, all of the people we talk about, like your principal, are the middle class. And your teacher and Mr. Gentleman down at the
Mr. Hall.
school there, we still have one helper in our house. Not because him can afford it, but him just
Mr.
know
Hall,
say
no help in
when
the
he,
house.
huh?
You know no help in the house. You can't afford no helper.
Oh, well, see there. It's a vanity.
The
That's why I said
local chip and
vanity.
tape when they give me can't. The local chip and tape when they give me nothing can buy it in a dirty girl.
Dirty girl dearer than chicken back.
There you go. You can't buy chicken back either.
And
But these fat cats, yeah man, I would eat some of that right now. But these fat cats sit down with a house at Beverly Hills and Cherry Garden and who
several
sell
houses. Several
and
houses.
there you go. And all in Miami too. They have houses in South Florida.
And
Some of
and
these
this prime
politicians.
and this prime minister is going to outbid Mr. PJ for the next chalet in France. We send them there to make their lives better and ours worse. My God. When will we learn? Come on, my people, man. This is when David said, lift up your head, he rejected people. Come on, man. Let the people them God them, yeah. All when them all and Ben have cancer, then still why in our parliament. All when they now come, then still I get paid, then still in our parliament. Then now give up, then now get up Jeffrey. And now them a bring them picnic. Them a bring them picnic, them a create a dynasty. So DK Duncan have Sutherland, Pernell charge of Feme 3. Phillips Peter bring Feme son. Who did they again? Mr. Smith did bring Feme son. The Jamaican people, that's say them people here. I make sure say them pocket heavy and fill one empty. They're mad. Me blame the people who continue to talk garbage about or these politicians care about us. All I want to say, none of them care about us. And it's time for us to care about ourselves. We have to change the court. We have to look in our community, see who best fit the job description, engage because the outcome is going to be devastating. You think of Warmington, you have some come like the nest of him. Eh? You have some come where we not see the like of them. Them have some serious spiritual demon that no scripture can cast out. Eh? Them tongues seasoned with lie, and they're going to deceive the Jamaican people until we are no more. Them going to suck the last piece of flesh off our. Me pay my 30 me pay my pound of flesh already. Me now have nothing more forgive. Me pay my flesh already. I have been fired from government agency because I am going to always speak about it. And when you tell me some if you take things out of report, no, me not take it out. So when you can't tell me about me, I go up and chopping black. Because I will never betray the trust of the Jamaican people. Me not perfect, but me not a thief. Because my mama tell me, say she first would have carry me go on, but if me have a thief, me have to be a VIP thief, and she don't bring no thief in this world. Not thief nobody. Me suffer under the hands of the Jamaica Labour Party and under the hands of the PNP. One MP know how me did get fired from a job because it was orchestrated, and then somebody in camp come tell me, say, boy, the man feel a way how things go down. And he might ask you to give her.
Lou?
Say, me no want nothing from it. Me good. My grandmother, they teach me how to plant yam and banana. So me good. Me eat that with chiffon butter. Me good. Me no need no big company, no big man company. Me just want to do what is right and make sure that the generation behind me understand that. Me have to put the right foot forward. All when me want the big lifestyle. Jeffrey, me want the big vacation them too. Me want to take jet to clean out of this country. Then go find and then never come back and tell me what are the things that they say. Then sell me in the dead at night if slavery was to come tomorrow.
I asked the question.
Would have put all
I have been asking this question from 2014 until this blessed day. The both political party need to come and tell the people of Jamaica. I've lost Luke. The both political party to come and tell the people of Jamaica how much they sold the Jamaican people for to the Chinese government. I've been asking that question from 2014 until this blessed day. Our nation is in crisis. And we need to know. Because as what Luke said, they're selling us bit by bit. Bit by bit, they're selling us out. Whether we like it, yes or no, they're selling us out bit by bit. You see? We must ask the question, Luke George. How much does the two political parties sell the Jamaican people for to the Chinese? If they are giving away how much acres of land to the Chinese, all in the name of road, and we can't ask no question because Warmington not tell us we are chink and drunk, bro. And Warmington not tell us that chink and drunk we can't go up on beach. Because that's how Warmington is styling the people of this country. We are chink and we are drunk, bro.
I hope him can go up on beach without sinking. I really hope him can go back. Look here, don't waste your time on Mr. Warmington. Let us ask the question. When will enough be enough for the Jamaican people? The people in the diaspora seem to be fighting a cause that the Jamaicans here must stand up to the powers that be. We must develop the backbone to say, no, minister, respectfully, and if it means sometime that we have to have like a civil disobedience to get our point across, we must stand up, but we must call for a better quality leadership. We must call for more account, but we must not just call, we must act. And this is why, again, Jeffrey Tavares may say, we must have a position on the Met we talk that if it's agriculture them come with, we can name them and tell them what they're not doing in that regard. That is helping the farmers. If it's education, we must have some people talking about how to reform the education sector and where we can get the money from. So if the Auditor General can say to the Ministry of Health that I feel that you have misspent the Jamaican people money, is either the minister or the permanent secretary have to pay it back. We have to entrench that. You have to pay it back. So if you don't follow the proper guideline and demonstrate that what you are showing us, we can believe it without having to question whether or not somebody got paid out. Because you see the sad part about it, Jeffrey, when you talk to young people in Jamaica, they just feel like the institutions that are to represent them are to reflect better accountability. They don't. So like when the whole Auditor General report come up, my 14-year-old nephew said, I wonder which minister and them sweetheart got the hotel. Why you would have make a young Jamaican have to think that way? You understand? And he went on, he was actually giggling and he said, go see how much night the minister carry him side chick or him side boy go a one of them hotel. Yeah. We have to check out the name them and the video. Run back the video, uncle, and say who really got there. It is sad. That is the perception of a 14-year-old boy in Jamaica. But you know what? It's widely shared by others. And that is when you know that these leaders have no shame. Because the young people in the country have lost trust deficit in leadership.
Indeed.
I want to continue to go out there and continue to promote that same sort of behavior over and over. And it is against the backdrop that they also talk among themselves, Jeffrey. And when they talk among themselves, people talk about the things that they hear and the things that can be proven to be true about how some people behave in here. Every politician probably went into that parliament poor and have come out twice rich in land, in money, and have secured their family, while the majority of Jamaicans
and who have 2,000 acres of cane land in a St. Thomas. Some sell land in a center and fi build house in a cherry garden. Listen to me. We're sick as hell in this country if we don't wake up.
The truth, but it is for the ordinary Jamaican. Senator session that I call. It is for the unique. It is for the unique Jamaicans to now get up and be counted. It is heartbreaking, when I said I saw a retired teacher who I remember taking lunch and breakfast for children. You'd see her with these big bags. I mean, my God, if you ask me about a human who exhibit a donkey-like quality, she had these big bags and she would call these children out in the morning and she would give them lunch. And that lady retired in our vineyard town home. When you go in at the front of the house, furniture, them antique and look good. But when you go at the back and you look, you see the gas stove and you see the coal stove on top of the gas stove and you see the hose coming through the window from our neighbor. And sometimes she can't pay the light bill. She have to have candles in there. And you ask yourself, why do you serve? For what? And in this new compensation package, a principal said to me, I don't think I can fulfill, because now class teacher can discipline students, it has to go to the principal. So how do you carry out your function as an effective administrator if every disciplinary matter has to be referred to you, And then when he said to me, half of my staff are required transfer letters to take a position in an overseas country as far as Dubai. And you have to ask yourself the question, when you have this brain drain, if they are enjoy the freedom and the right they are now as the leaders, the so-called leaders, and that it goes across the leadership tier, whether private sector, public sector, government. Hence, if you continue to make sure that you create a population that are unable to think things through for themselves. That when you go to mass rally, you can tell them, "Oh, Master Mark never do nothing," but you never show them that Sir John Golden did a lot for this country. We're past that. Warmington, you're a boy on that matter. We're past that. Into forward thinking people don't look on color. We know so we not feel inferior to nobody. Nobody. But what you have not done for that is to say, by the end of this year, we are going to bring back the free zone. We are going to put back our women and men to work. We are going to create night school that you can go and get a skill.
Jamal.
And we're going to do the Jamal program. I know that you have phone, you can stay up on your phone and we create software. We want our student at NTV to create software that will help you the sound of letter and how you can put words together. If you're not doing that, Mr. Warmington, you're just a distraction and a mere object in the stagnant road of development. Don't come to me, come tell me about the man's skin color. I've got to talk about Susan, Lady Collins in England, the big yard gossip lady. I'm so disappointed that she even have the title lady who talk about the prime ministers of the right color, the right ilk. He will do Jamaica proud. Any Jamaican who loves the country. One woman named Lady Susan Collins. She all in a Megan and Harry business. The way how she dibby and it is not reflecting the best of us. She know how
she's a Jamaican.
She said she's a Jamaican. How Harry must be kicked out because she have the title. Lady, you just have you have this title, but you're just a big gossip because me know you're not doing nothing like what John Golden do for Jamaica. So if you're not doing nothing, me not have no time for listen to you. Me not care who you know and who you rub shoulder with. When you step out of our room, the people then probably say, "Oh, there she goes, the big gossip." Remember, I know the social snap them, you know, the voom vava and the voom vavi. You think we can spit venom like them? Me glad me not feel stay around them for long. Me not going to be inferior by owner riches because somehow God know the way I get it. Even the Obia man them are gonna have more salvation before Master God down. The amount of blood we wanna shed for live up at some of them a place there. Me not worry about how to sleep because I know that my maker is going to make a level playing field of all of you. Anyway, Jeffrey, I'm about
we have to go. Yes, we have to wrap up.
Yeah, I forgot. Thanks. Me get 2 people from your program that have reached out to me and said they want to give some support to the project where we want to put in fire extinguishers in school. We want smoke detectors, sanitizers. We want to give these schools proper working desktop and laptop for the teachers. We want learning to be about using all the technology. We want an assorted amount of coloring books, crayons, jumbo pencil, reading books so that our early child. But we want support for the teaching staff too. So we're going to be setting up some workshops. I'm going to be putting out the sites, some of the sites that I'm working on, so that you can see we have to change the play field. We have to probably to put up some buildings, erect new learning buildings that are more children friendly, and help the teachers to acquire the necessary education level so that as they come in contact with our children, we're putting the best in classroom. I'm doing my little, I have a lady who is living in absolute inhumane condition. I'd like to do some renovation on our house. I don't have no ulterior motive than just doing what I think is right before I leave this planet. I don't know how much more time I have. And I want, when I say God, it's not good work I do, but God's work. I really want to reflect that. And I believe that if I invest, yeah.
Sorry to be cutting you off. Something just came to me. I don't know if you'll do it. I'm gonna tell you that God told me to do it. God told me to tell you to do it. I'm asking you to do it, if you can.
Mm.
Offer a prayer for this nation. Please,
You want me-
pray for
uh,
Jamaica before we go.
okay, but
That's our
all right.
final thing. We're going to pray for this nation before we close off. And that's our we don't have no closing conversation. The closing conversation we're going to have is to communicate with our God. This nation is in crisis. And I'm going to ask you tonight, my good friend, offer a word of prayer for this beloved country of ours.
Lay hands on no man suddenly. But let us pray, Jeffrey. Almighty God, we come before you. We confess that in mind, thought, action, indeed, we have sinned. And so, Lord, as we enter your throne, we ask that you cleanse us of all unrighteousness, creating us a clean heart and renewing us a right spirit. Father, you said righteousness exalted a nation, but sin is a reproach to any man. And tonight we place Jamaica land we love at your feet. And we ask, Lord, that you raise up in this country men and women who will stand up on godly principle for truth, right, and justice. Father, you said that when the wicked rule, the people suffer, but when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. And there is a spirit of suffering, Lord, a spirit of death over the people of Jamaica, a spirit of anger, a spirit of trauma, a spirit of being rejected, a spirit of feeling like we do not count because we do not fall in the ruling class. I pray that the Spirit of God will go forth and destroy the ideology of ruling class. Father, we are all made as your handmaid, and you ask that we must be our brothers and sisters' keeper. And I call forth in this country that we must be true ambassador of being our brothers and sisters' keeper. Help us to serve the poor and the dispossessed as you, Jesus, demonstrated through in your ministry on earth. Help us to be called to a spirit of honesty and decency and respect, but more so the love that transcends every situation. Love for fellow men, love for family, love for country, love for the world at large. Help us to be good ambassador of what it means to be godly in our doing. Father, I pray that you will go now and that you will tear down the evil empires that have been built up in this country. Father, we are becoming a country where we give more to our flesh than we give to God, our responsibility to God. Father, we are seeing spiritual wickedness in high places and rulers of darkness that have just come up in this country, and they have taken the Jamaica land we love in a wrong direction. But we call that the winds of righteousness blow us into a right direction. Father, give us vision lest we perish. Give us wisdom, knowledge, and understand in this new time that we will come up and become creative to think honestly and generously and to play our part, that Jamaica under God will increase in her beauty, her fellowship and prosperity, and that all of Jamaicans may come to recognize you, God, as truly our Father who cared for us. Help us all, Lord, to do our part. Let us stand up and be counted. Let us speak out against the injustice and the evil that has become so pervasive. Let us be good ambassador, that whatever they see in us, they will come to glorify our Father in heaven. Jamaica is God, and we place you now at the head, the center, and at the end, that your will and wish will be manifested for the people of Jamaica and the people of the world. This and other things we ask in your Son Jesus' name, as we say amen and amen and amen. I don't know, I'm not put my pan, me know the public prayer. Me pray on my carpet, Jeffrey, I don't really like public time, but I pray for a spirit of godly people to rise up in this country that will do right by this country. It's a beautiful place. It's broken but promising. And I look forward, if not in my time, that my children and my children's children will see Jamaicans that they can be proud of, and a Jamaica in which they will fight for to protect her from all of the adversities and the people who want to harm her, and against leadership that doesn't reflect the heart of Jesus. That's my wish. Now you're Jeffrey.
Sorry. Thank you, my good friend Luke George Cook, for coming on. Thank you for your prayer for this nation. Thank you so much. And this is where we say so long from here. Until you hear our voice again, may God bless you. May God bless Jamaica land we love. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Do you need graphic design services? Or maybe you need branding for your business? How about multimedia production services? Contact Browns Media and Graphics at 876-877-1870. Browns Media and Graphics, developing your ideas, creating your style.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.